Nothing ever happens on a Monday, especially in the morning. Or so we thought. We were crewing a homicide assessment team, better known by its acronym, HAT. There are several specialist police vehicles like this dotted around London, ready to take on-call detectives to the scene of a murder or a suspicious death as quickly as possible. London is covered 24 hours a day and 365 days a year by 4 of Scotland Yard's murder investigation teams, MITs, each ready to respond at a moment's notice. In reality, though, most days you won't be called upon, which can lead to a false sense of security. That's how I was feeling that morning. Each team spends 7 days as a HAT, and this was our last. Generally, if you get through the weekend without a murder, you are okay. In situations like this, when you think you've got away without picking up a new inquiry, there is one word you don't mention. It is known as the Q word. You just don't say it. Why would you? Who would tempt the gods of fate? But that morning somebody did. I can't believe how quiet the weekend was. In response, cries went up around the office, but half-hearted ones. It was a Monday morning, after all. Then the phone rang. That's what it was known as. The phone. The only people who would call us on the phone were the police control room. Surely it's just a call for advice. But as soon as my colleague started speaking, I knew it was much more than that. I knew that look, that tone of voice. Another murder on the streets of London. We waited for the call to finish to be told more. It was a stabbing. A woman had been killed in a shopping area in South London. On a Monday morning? That made no sense. My immediate thoughts were of an argument in a shopping queue or a domestic incident. At that stage, we had no idea it was something far more unusual and extremely tragic. We gathered what we would need and headed to our car. We had to get to murder scenes quickly, otherwise important evidence could be lost. We drove using blue lights and sirens. It's difficult to talk in a car with that much noise around you, so there wasn't much conversation. We were all deep in thought. I couldn't say what my colleagues were thinking, but I always used these journeys to focus my mind on what was to come. I've been to dozens of crime scenes, but I still now experience the same buzz that I did the very first time. I always knew that if the feeling went, it was time to move units. There are steps that all murder investigators go through at scenes, and I was rehearsing those in my head. As the senior officer, most decisions would fall to me. I learned the hard way that those decisions would be pored over by lawyers who would have months to second-guess the decisions I had to make on the spot. Some of the most uncomfortable moments in my career were standing in the witness box at the Old Bailey, having my decisions scrutinized. That's why I needed that buzz. The moment I started to relax and take the job for granted was the moment mistakes would start to creep in. Each crime scene was different from the last. Sometimes we would walk into scenes of absolute chaos, at other times complete calm. That feeling of going into the unknown created adrenaline. As we pulled up to the crime scene, we were met by a familiar sight. Blue lights, uniformed officers, crime scene tape. This was an area I knew well, and at this time on a Monday morning it would usually be a hive of activity. Not this morning. Other than a few officers, the streets were eerily quiet. No cars, no people. We sought out the officer best placed to tell us what happened, which would either be one of those first on scene or the person in charge. In this instance, it was a uniformed inspector who had arrived soon after the first officers. This was important as, to make the best decisions, you needed the best information. He pointed across the road to where I could see a body. There was also blood, lots of blood. He told us the lady had been killed by someone using a large knife. He then pointed to the other side of the road, where I could see a woman in handcuffs standing with uniformed officers.